People, we have to wake up. There's no more time to lose here. Y'all need to understand the reason why Christianity was even invented. I'm not attacking your faith. I'm not attacking your seek for God. We all have God. The US have Yahweh. The indigenous had God himself in the nature. They pray to God in the universe. So did the Romans first. The Romans, before Christianity was invented, they believed in the sun. They believed in nature, in Pluto. They believed in the cosmos. If you do your research, you will find out that the ancient, that your ancestors, everybody's ancestors, the first God that they even prayed to, it was the one and only God up there. They did not need a church telling them where to find God. They did not need a church or a Bible telling them what the truth was, because the truth was that God could be found everywhere. God can be found inside of every one of us. We don't need to go seeking for God anywhere else. We can find God right here in nature. We can find God inside our homes. We can find God anywhere. But Christianity was created for a darker scheme. They have a facade. They cover up their dark, evil, narcissistic, homicidal purposes behind the scenes of the church and the Bible. Have you even realized that the Bible is actually talking about
what is an optical illusion?
It's actually talking about the Crusaders. The way the Crusaders turned people into Christianity, that was horrible. The Crusaders were sent by the popes to transform people into Christianity. The people that did not transform into Christianity, they were slaughtered. They were used in slavery. They were sold in slavery. The women were raped and sold in slavery. They accused other people, such as pagans. Do you even know the word pagan? Do you even know what it means to be a pagan? Of course not. You don't take your time to go looking around and looking to find out what is a pagan. A pagan used to be a person who prayed to God alone, who did not want anything to do with their schemes, who did not want somebody to tell them how to pray to God, how to look for God, or to tell them who is God, because they knew where to find him. They all lived in peace and harmony before Christianity came through. All your ancestors lived in peace and harmony. If you ask Google, if you ask anybody, who did your ancestors pray to, you will find out that they even prayed to God, the sun, the universe, the planets, Mother Earth. They prayed to nature. They prayed to the universe. And the Christians, the Crusaders, they came along, sent by the popes, to take away their beliefs by force. That's why a lot of people wonder, why is there so many believers of Christ? Why is there so many believers in Christianity? It is because of that. It's not because they had a choice. They were not given a choice. They were turned into Christianity. If not, they would die. This is just like narcissists. They slander your name. They slander anybody's name. That's just so they can have a lot of people to go against you. That's why it is very important to understand and be able to identify narcissism, because it all goes back around to the first centuries. The people that don't understand narcissism, it's hard for them to capture what is really going on. But people like us, who has been put through narcissism, through lies and all this, we can understand. Pagans were free men, forced into, so were all Jewish. They were all free men, forced into Christianity by the Romans, by the Spaniards. Christopher Columbus, He came into America and discovered America. No, he didn't. The Indians already had it. It already belonged to them. But they did the same thing that every other person that wants to introduce Christianity into a new place does. They raped the female and the girls. And then they enslaved them. They murdered the people that didn't want to turn into Christianity. And they sold the kids into slavery. They sold the men that didn't want to turn into Christianity into slavery. And if they turned against them, they killed them. So where is the choice into being a Christian in those days? That is why Christianity is so heavy today. But it's a facade to hide that they're the rapists, that they're the homicidals, that they're the people that introduced slavery. They're the narcissists that introduced Christianity, the title of Christianity. They introduced it into our world to hide their dark schemes. If today they go and investigate where those kids are being taken from, they go and investigate the homes of the children that supposedly they're helping foster. That's exactly where they're taking them out from. That's why child adoption, child trafficking is so heavy. Child trafficking is happening from right under our noses, and people are willing to defend that. For people that haven't done their research, you need to go back into history and research. What did Christianity's people that came looking for Christianity, what did they do? Look for the Crusaders. Look for the popes. Why did they force people? Why did they push the Crusaders into doing that? It was for possession of land, power, just like the Romans. Everything was introduced through the Romans. None of this is natural. None of this is right. They introduced Christianity and blamed the pagans, the normal people who pray to God out here, in the woods, in the outside of church. If you weren't in a church, if you weren't a Christian, you died. They unalive you. So you tell me, how does a God want that? How does a God tell you, go kill everybody, force them into Christianity? And yes, they defended the Christians because they were already in it. They were already in the Christianity, so yes, of course, they were gonna defend them. Once they transform you forcefully, of course, they defend the crowd. It's just like whenever you have cattle, you defend your cattle, right? So no animal can get it, so nobody else can steal it. It's obvious. Let's not be fooled about it. But it's time to stand up. It's time to speak up. It's time to stop being part of this scheme, this darkness. People have you not questioning anything because they're giving you a facade. But yet we still question, why is the world so bad? And we don't realize why it's so bad. Then it's time to open our eyes and see why it's so bad. Stick around for part 2.